Hi, Gemini. So, I'm just trying to be as efficient as I can possible. It's Kendrick from Providence Tarot coming to you with your May 2019 Loving Proof and General reading. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Providence Tarot. I'm also NYC Kendrick and the Tongue Pop. I'm Kendrick NYC as well. Um, Excuse me. Whoa. Jeez, I'm on my Wendy Williams. Um, I've already laid the cards out and I flipped them all over so I can just kind of go through without having to flip them over and do the whole surprise thing. But some cards fell out for you, a lot of them, chunks of them, you know what I mean? So here we go. At the center of the reading, we have the Ten of Gabriel, which is the Saturn and Sagittarius. So this is talking about feeling restrictions in terms of a goal. You might be feeling oppressed by something. There's the awareness of something as well. It's kind of grown into a problem or a situation that you feel like you need some help or some assistance taken care of. The tens are talking about risk and opportunity. Maybe you took a risk, maybe you took an opportunity, or maybe there's an opportunity for you to complete something and start something to begin or begin something, right? It says, ask your angels for helpful people to lighten your load, working too many hours or trying too hard to please others. So you might be trying very hard to please someone and you feel like you've gotten to your wits' end, or you may be feeling like you've gotten to a point where you feel like you have satisfied a situation, or a situation has you've gotten all you can get out of a situation, because it's karma, right, by Saturn, and that's also talking about time. And also Sagittarius is talking about getting to the point of something. What have I learned from this? How have I been changed from this situation? And can I now leave this situation knowing that I have been changed, or am I going to change something? How am I going to adapt to this awareness or to this growth that I'm experiencing as well? And it's also talking about fluctuations and ups and downs as well. You know, something, you have too much of something, or you're experiencing too much of something. There might be a lot of people involved because it's 10. It could have something to do with family because it's a 10, that type of thing. It might have something to do with a male because it's 10 and it's Jupiter, which is Sagittarian, and that's, you know, this is fire, so that's kind of yin energy. Okay, in the past we have the Three of Gabriel, which is I believe that's Sun in Sun in Sun in Aries. I'm sorry, I'm having a blank. This is talking about, you know, anticipating something, right? Waiting for something, because it's the Empress. So you are anticipating something from the past. You were waiting for something from the past. There was communication. There was an understanding. There was a psychological process that completed itself and brought something into form for you that made you hopeful to receive something, right? And that's what happened in the past. You know, with prosperity arising from wise planning, time to take the next step, optimistic plans to turn out as expected, right? So you took some steps based on a reality that had formed in your mind, and you were hoping that something was going to come from that, okay? And right now in the present, from that situation, it has grown into the 10, which is now saying that you have a feeling of, you know, maybe oppressed. This is the Lord of Oppression, I believe, and it's called like the big squeeze. So right now you're being really truly tested by Saturn in terms of what the really end result of all of these experiences are and what it actually means. You know what I mean? Because you probably felt like you have gotten to the end point of something, but this end point is so that you can get to another place, right? All right. So in the Sun position, you have the Eight of Michael, which is this is, hold on, I'm sorry, I got it. This is Gemini, and this is an 8. It's not Jupiter in Gemini. It is Jupiter in Gemini. This is Jupiter in Gemini, and it is talking about, you know, just like the overwhelming sense of thought patterns that might be getting the best of you. It's testing your strength and it's testing your courage, and you're also seeing where maybe there was some cracks in the foundation of your mind, right? In the knowledge that you may have had. You may have been held back by not receiving knowledge, or you may have been held back by, you know, some knowledge because you didn't allow yourself to acknowledge the weak points of something, because when I get 8, I think of like the links in a chain, and then I think of weak links in a chain, that type of thing. And the 8s are really talking about, you know, fears, weaknesses, desires based on fears, lack, feeling a lack of something, you know, and allowing your desires to be led by that feeling of lack, right? Which is fear based, okay? And, you know, we're talking about the 8th house, so that's Scorpio. You might be dealing with Scorpio or Scorpio tendencies, or you might be dealing with someone that sort of thinks like a Scorpio, or you might be thinking like a Scorpio where you want to transform from this experience and break free from it. Therefore, you would be destroying an understanding, a psychological, you know, awareness of the mind, right? You would be sacrificing that, right? Because you're opening yourself up to mental freedom, okay? This card says you can be free, make courageous choices to change your situation, not seeing things clearly, right? So at first you weren't seeing things clearly, but now you are seeing things clearly, okay? And you got your card in the moon position, which is the lovers. You know, this is number 6, right? Let me show you some of these cards so you can see. This is the lovers in the moon position. This is what you got in the sun position, right? Which is what you're really identifying with, this Jupiter and Gemini energy right here, okay? The awareness of the expansion of your thoughts and how it's probably gotten the best of you, so much so that it's created a mental prison for yourself. So you have to make a choice to take yourself out of that mental prison, okay? And you definitely know a thing or two about your thoughts. So the lovers are here. This is talking about routine, right? Routine efforts to sort of like nurture a situation. Maybe you've done that. Maybe you are really offering this this sort of consistency to nurturing a relationship or nurturing something. You know, it's like your awareness is there. Your mental capacity can withstand this, or maybe you know, the mental and the emotions are clashing. It's like the understanding and the truth about something is clashing with the way that you feel about something, because the lovers is Gemini, but then it's also in the moon position. So this is kind of like the moon being in Gemini. Maybe you're confused about your emotions, or maybe you're trying to think logically about a situation, but emotions are getting in the way, right? Or maybe the truth is getting in the way and creating a barrier in terms of like crossing over to really acknowledge the emotional benefits of the situation. Or maybe something, you know, this situation or this circumstance has evolved into you, you know, understanding more to it than just the feelings behind it. You know what I mean? You're understanding, like, you're comprehending things. You're seeing where there might be some lacks of judgment, or you might be seeing where there might be, you know, you're seeing the routine efforts to kind of like provide to this relationship, but emotionally you're being affected by some truths that you can't deny within the relationships, and it's kind of like that has multiplied into more than just truths. It's multiplied into something that really is, that is coming to formation and is now something that you have to like deal with on a day-to-day level, right? It really is something now, and now it really is something that you're dealing with on a day-to-day level, and sort of, so it's affecting your mental capacity and your emotional capacity, right? It's sort of like those both are sort of like feeling very overwhelmed together. So we've covered those. And I just kind of like jumped into the regular general reading. I'm doing a mix up here. It's mixing up. So now let me go into the love cards, the romance angels oracle cards. Let me see how much time I have. Okay, I'm doing away. So it says separation here. Time apart from your partner is on the horizon. And that's right next to the lover's card. And it's right next to it says you can be free, make courageous choices to change your situation. Okay, so this separation, that's what I meant when I was talking about the mind and, you know, the moon being, you know, there to represent your emotional process and how you have evolved into this. It's evolved into a mental prison, right? That you feel like you're oppressing your emotions as well as your thoughts. You may be feeling like you can express yourself freely and openly, right? Because it doesn't really match with the way that you feel. It's so weird. It's like your feelings and your thoughts want to be expressed, but they want to be expressed in different ways, but they're coming from the same person. So you have to honor the fact that they are clashing. And that's what the separation has to do with. Maybe you're taking time away. Maybe some of you are going somewhere to travel, to get away. It could be an actual full-on separation break, or this could be you just separating from the mental prison that you had, right, within your relationship. Some of you are still within that. Or this could just be you separating from the mental prison that you created for yourself, and now you're nurturing that, right? And you're allowing yourself to detach from that old part of yourself that didn't really trust you, or that didn't really believe that you had all that it took, right? That you had the resources, that you had the creativity for yourself, that you didn't need anyone to kind of like prove to you that you were who you always knew that you were anyway. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. Um, okay. It says very soon as well. Between the past, present, and the future, very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. So you guys might be having to really step up to the plate, you know what I mean, and make some courageous decisions to really get what you feel like you deserve, right? Also, it says chemistry. There's a magnetic attraction here. So you guys might be finding out that you might be still pulled towards someone, right? Or you might be being pulled towards someone. Or you might be understanding that that is where the conflict lies, because there is chemistry here. Yet again, you feel like there's a need for a separation. So it really is saying that you're stepping up to the plate into a leadership position, kind of, and you are absorbing the karmic debt that you might be paying, or you're absorbing some sort of negative feeling behind what it is that you're going through. Okay, because there's definitely a separation between the lovers because of some mental prison that you may be in, or something that you need to outwardly, right? Because the 8 is related to the strength card, which is ruled by Leo, which is a sun, that you need to outwardly express, right? It's something that needs to be, something that's being thought about up here needs to be outwardly expressed so that you can undergo this transformation, right? Because of the 8th house energy. And then we have the 6th house energy with the lovers, but then we also have the 3rd house energy, right? And the 3rd house energy is still represented here with the 3 of Gabriel, right? Aries energy, okay? Sun in Aries. And esoterically, Aries is ruled by Mercury, right? And Mercury rules the 3rd house, okay? And Sun in Aries is the 3 of Gabriel. So this is saying that there's an understanding in your mind of what has actually really truly formed here for you. And you're understanding that there's going to be a change that's going to happen, but it's going to take some level of courage from you to understand 8 of Michael, understand the 6 of the lovers, you know what I mean? What's going to have to take for you to not be oppressed here, and for you to let go of something, or to release some weight that you feel like you've been carrying around with you still, okay? All right, so let me just continue to move on. In your anxieties, you have the sun here, and this is talking about, you know, your life, your heart, your spirit, your will, what's driving you, what is your understanding of what's going to have to transpire or take place for you to feel like you are expanding upon yourself, right? You were doing dutifully, right, what you are justified in doing, right? Um, definitely. The 1 and the 9, that makes a 10. So this is an opportunity for you to seize, right? You might be having anxieties about seizing an opportunity, right? That is actually going to bring a level of success to you, or going to bring a moment of success in your life. And that's probably what you need to feel right now, for some of you. But this is like you having anxieties about being bold, right? Because the sun is bold, and the sun is doing what it does. It exists, right, to service, right? So what service do you need to offer to yourself, right? That's going to make you feel like you are truly living your life, right? Because it's like you can't expect to live your life for other people and be satisfied with your life. You know what I mean? Because then it's like if you're living your life for other people and they're not satisfied for whatever reason, then it's like you're throwing that life away. I don't know why I'm saying that. But definitely, you have anxieties about, the awareness of something and the use, the tools of how to be, your best mentor. You are your own best mentor. Hopefully, you have anxieties in trusting yourself. You know what I mean? Definitely, you have anxieties in trusting yourself about something. It says life is wonderful. Thrive through the power of positive thinking and inspiring success. So choose you definitely. Okay? You have what it takes. I'm moving on. In the Mars position, you have the Nine of Raphael. So this is saying that you really feel like you want to reach a level of satisfaction. The Nine does talk about evolution, so you may have evolved. Your emotions, your feelings may have evolved, right? You've gotten to a point where you've understood them, you've comprehended them, right? And now it's time to do something about what it is that you have discovered about your feelings. Time to do something about, right? To do, to be, to do, right? So this is in your Mars position. Mars does things. He's an aggressor. He is also talking about restraint, right? Maybe, you really do have a wish that you have been holding back on or restraining, and you really are being truthfully honest to yourself and what your subconscious might be revealing to you, because this is a 9. This is Jupiter and Pisces. Okay, so this is the expansion of a feeling that you have, and it's something that you want to achieve. It's like a goal that you have emotionally, to be emotionally satisfied, to feel like understood, to feel compassion, right? It's almost like something that you have always dreamed about or daydreamed about is going to happen, or felt like was going to happen is going to happen. And if you feel like you still think about or you want something, make a wish. This is new moon. It's the perfect time to do that. Okay? For sure. And this new moon might be revealing something to you about yourself and other people that you might be in a relationship with or might be relating to. It talks about commitments as well, because it's in Taurus. It's talking about respect, listening to your inner ear, the throat, right? Speaking your truths, being bold and not having anxieties and communicating your feelings, right? And how they have evolved and what your wishes are now and what you want to do based on those wishes and those desires, right? Desires of the mind, okay? Psychologically, you've gotten to this point. Okay, at the bottom of the deck, you have the Ace of Raphael. So this is speaking to the 9 of Raphael here and the 2 of Raphael. And these are all the water cards that you would like to get, rather, other than the 6 of Cups. You know what I mean? Everything else is here. It says a positive new emotional experience, fulfilling romantic relationships, deep and lasting spiritual insights. That has to do with this 9 of Raphael here in this Mars position. And in your Venus position, that's talking about your relationships, you have the 2 of Raphael. It's an understanding of how you feel and how someone else feels. And even though you're finding balance, you're trying to find balance in that. You're trying to sort of like, through your communicative efforts, you are revealing to each other how you truly, right? Because there's the truth there in the feeling of the relationship, but then there's also the separation that has to come from the spirit and the truth that lives within you, because the relationship has its truth, but then you also have your truth separately, okay? And that's the deepest, most, smoldering, fiery passion that you should be focused on, 2 hearts dedicated to creating something wonderful. Kindred spirits, don't give up on those you love, right? Definitely don't give up on those you love. Don't give up on yourself either, because this 2 of Raphael is also related kind of to the Justice card. It definitely is, because this is the 2 of Raphael. What is that? 2 of Cups. That's Venus in Cancer. And Venus rules the Justice card, which is 11, which looks like a 2. You know what I mean? So she is in this card. This talks about emotional security as well within oneself and emotional balance within oneself, which then you will have that emotional balance within your relationship. So this is probably talking about factors in how you relate to other people and their emotional understanding, or what they have to be going through emotionally and what you're going through emotionally. Individual emotional processes are different, you know. And this nine of Raphael is talking about an emotional process because it's a nine, and the nines are talking about processes that lead to epiphanies, right? Oh, I just discovered something through this process that I've been going through, and that I've kind of been like gaining wisdom from as I've been going. You know, I've gotten this multitude of understanding, right? Because the threes are multiplicity, the sixes are like, adding on to that, multiplying even more, right? And doing something very positive, trying to, with that experience of multiplicity, because why would you want to multiply something if there was no intention of it being something positive or having potential? You know what I mean? Hello? Why are we multiplying? Why are we adding multiplicity to things that are bad? No, it's always supposed to be good. So now you have an understanding of what that is. That like other people that are involved, you know, within your life or that are present in your life, because this has to do with being emotionally present, right? And facing one's emotion, facing your emotions and two other people facing emotions together, right? That type of thing. Okay? Don't give up on yourself for sure. Don't give up on those you love. You know, if it's some family stuff going on. You know, this is for a lot of different Geminis out there, so apply it to your situation as you see, right? Because like different cards might represent you, or they might represent other people, or they might represent other people. You know what I mean? You never know. In the future positions, I'm going to read those now and then I'm going to get going. So, in the energy, the outcome moving forward, you got the Four of Ariel. So, this is talking about, you know, holding on tight to something. Some of you guys don't want to let something go. Some of you guys are feeling a little bit stubborn. It's almost like some of you don't want to give something up either. The Four is talking about stability. Maybe you felt like there was some like level of stability there. Also, it could have to do with like some oppressive energy with this four here, because it's Aries energy with the Emperor, right? Leadership or somebody being in control, wanting something, desiring something, consuming something, the consumption of something, the control of the consumption of something. Also, the fours have, you know, this one is Sun in Capricorn. The Sun is talking about the will, right? The creativity, the will, the drive to control something. And then Capricorn is also talking about time, right? And then as we're dealing with karma, and we're also dealing with codependency, right? Yeah, codependency within a structure. When you give, you also receive, being resistant to change, extremes in how you save or spend money, right? So some of you might be codependent in terms of the financial structures that you are, you know, being provided by this Emperor energy or this Mars energy, that type of thing. But then it's also like some of you could have so much that it is time to share some of that which you have collected, that you have earned, right? Because then you actually get out of the giving. The Seven of Raphael is in the future. This is talking about, you know, a toxic situation and needing to see the truths within that, because it's a seven related to Libra. So it's talking about how you relate to an experience. You might be emotionally affected by an experience, so much so, and the toxic energy within that, that you're trying to really achieve some sense of emotional balance, but you just can't. You know, it's bringing you just too many different levels of confusion because it's a seven. So it's, you know, it's also like July is coming out to me. Also, Libra is coming out to me. That's where we just had both of those full moons recently. And then seven is also, you know, seven of Raphael, seven of Cups is Venus, right, who rules the seventh house, and that is Venus and Scorpio right here, you know. And Venus and Scorpio, you know, she's not really allowed to be as as you know, fair to herself, you know, because she's kind of like being controlled by something emotionally. Um, you know, there might be like some sort of toxic situation here, or maybe a situation can't be balanced because the toxic energy is just always going to be there underneath the surface, perhaps. Um, you know, Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm like drawing a blank. Maybe I'm tired. I need some sleep. Shit. It says time to make a decision. Be clear on what you want and take action. A need for detoxification. Yeah, for sure. I don't know why the word that I'm really trying to think of is not coming up in my head, but it's fine. I'm gonna like be stuck on that. At the top of the reading, you have the Empress. So some of you could be like, uh, understanding what it is that you can provide to yourself and not being so receptive to bring other people into your environment, right? Because the threes do talk about environments, right? One, two, three, closed environment, pregnancy, birth, baby. Three is the womb. Three is the vulva, right? Three is a triangle. So there may be a triangle here that is, allowing you to receive the intuitive energy and what it means for you. What is your great understanding from this environment that you are in? What is it providing you, bringing into it? What are you nurturing, and what is it nurturing you? Is this environment providing you with the sustenance that you need to thrive? You know what I mean? And it says, time to act upon your plans. Creativity is rewarded, luxurious or abundant resources, right? Step into it, step into this form, step into this new environment that you feel like you can create for yourself. Don't have anxieties about what it is that you are focused on. Don't have anxieties about the change of focus, right? Within this process. Because sometimes you just have to adapt to these changes when things get to be too much for you, because the change is really needed. That's what this Ten of Gabriel is talking about. Oh my gosh, I didn't pull a challenge card. I have to go after this. Oh yes, the Magician. See? Wow, this is great. You better watch this whole reading. You can manifest the life you want. What you need will magically appear. And it definitely is the card that would have gone in the challenge position in the immediate influence. So the challenge, or the card that's in the present, is the Ten of Gabriel, right? 1 and 0. 1 and 0 is a 1, and that's a Magician. So you go from this Ten of Gabriel feeling oppressed by, some obligation that you feel like you may have had in terms of maybe a male person or a male family member or something like that. And it also is just saying you need to release yourself from burdensome situations. And sometimes you might have to ask friends for help to get you out of this toxic situation, right? And you're going to manifest something that you want. You're going to get something. It's a change of focus. I like it. Get into it. Communication is key here. Don't let your pride get in the way, right? And it's also talking to this Ace of Cups here at the bottom of the deck. Thank you, Gemini. Have a great rest of the May. Romantic feelings. Your feelings are worth exploring and they're real. Express your love. Go ahead and make the romantic gesture. And also deception. Someone is wearing a false mask in this relationship. And the separation card is up here at the top, okay? Bye, Gemini. Thank you. Have a great weekend.